From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Louis Butko.
Yes, it is Ticats Today for a Monday, November the 21st, 2022. Thanks for checking us out on the Ticats Audio Network. Well, the 2022 CFL season has come to an end, and the Toronto Argonauts are the Grey Cup champions. I didn't see that one coming. I'm not going to lie. I did not have the Argos as my 2022 Grey Cup pick, but they did pick up the win last night over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in Regina, Saskatchewan to take home the 109th Grey Cup. So, man, the one thing you can't argue, regardless of who you were cheering for, is that was an entertaining football game. Punt return touchdowns, blocked punts, blocked field goals, sacks, penalties. I mean, that game really had everything. Rouges, Boris Beatty really bailed out by his football team, because if that game goes a different way, we're talking about how many points Boris Beatty left on the field. Missed field goals. There was a missed extra point from Mark Leggio, which you don't ever see. That game was insane, and I had so many people who know I work in CFL, like friends and former colleagues and stuff, who reached out and were like, "What is going on?" And I didn't even know what to tell them, because I didn't know either. Last night, I was at CHCH, and take you behind the scenes how it works. They told me you got three minutes for sports, or 3.5 minutes for sports. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put all Grey Cup highlights and let other people know what they need to know. But it was going to be heavy Grey Cup focus. So I start cutting the clips and, I want that replay. And then you get to that fourth quarter and just everything happened. Interception, blocked field goal, interception, big punt return. So it was an entertaining game. And regardless of how you feel about either team, it'll be the Toronto Argonauts who will have their name engraved on the Grey Cup under the year 2022, and the rest of the teams will turn their attention on trying to dethrone the Argos now in 2023. But, what a CFL season, just to kind of reflect back on it all from, day one of training camp and getting to McMaster at 8 a.m. and, this strike that started the year, and to where we were last night to finish it off. So, maybe a bit reflective today, but that's kind of what you get when the season ends and you get to turn your attention to a brand new year and 2023. Coming up on today's show, I'll let you know that Matt Cauz from CFL on TSN is going to be by. But before we do that, we're going to go back to Regina, where this is from Argos YouTube, because you might not be happy the Argos won, and I think that's I would put my hand up in that boat, that you never want to see a team that you dislike win a championship, but you have to be happy for a guy like Brandon Banks, who had been through his share of tough defeats. We know, because we've been through them too, as Ticats fans. And a lot of people were asking if this was going to be it for him or what, but he is a Grey Cup champion, and he caught up with the Argos media team after the game, and I just want you to hear just a little bit of what he had to say about winning this Grey Cup.
No, not yet, but I'm just in the moment right now. I'm just so happy for everybody in this organization. I'm just happy for myself, happy for the coaches, happy for the players, just happy for everybody. Dreams do come true finally, and I didn't quit till it happened.
I'm really proud of him.
What's it mean to have him here?
That's unbelievable, man. This what I do it for. This is my why, man. He the reason why I'm here.
And that is Brandon Banks, former Ticat, former most outstanding player with the Ticats back in 2019, catching up with the Argos media team after winning the Grey Cup last night. And we'll get into that with our next guest here. Very pleased to be joined by CFL.ca and TSN radio host Matt Cauz. And Matt, if you were like me, you probably had a lot of people texting you last night, kind of coming out as new CFL fans, entertained by what they saw last night, because that was the perfect advertisement for the Canadian Football League.
Oh, absolutely. What a crazy game, where early on, it wasn't that, you know how there's some bad defensive slugfests where the broadcasters are like, oh, the defenses are bringing it, which is code for this game is crappy. I didn't feel that way because the physicality was impressive, but it was low scoring, low event, a lot of punts, and we had no idea what was in store for us. And then that fourth quarter with the multiple interceptions, the CFL Grey Cup record punt return touchdown, 2 block punts, Robbie Smith going from goat, hero, goat, like just, that was a crazy back and forth game at its, like that was the Grey Cup at its best. Like you could not have asked for a better ending to a game.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to get into because you mentioned the Rouge, a 4-0 game, like in a championship game in the second quarter. And it wasn't refreshing, but there were a lot of people earlier in the night saying, oh, what is going on? This game is not great, who were eating their words by the time that trophy was handed out.
Oh, yeah. And then it's like, you know, oh, you want more drama? Fine. Okay, well, McLeod Bethel Thompson gets hurt, and here comes a guy in Chad Kelly who was this tantalizing college quarterback who beat Nick Saban in Alabama. And, oh, wait, now it's 2nd down and 15. Let's see what you do here. And he runs for 20 yards and he, you know, completes some passes and he leads them on a game-winning touchdown drive. And the cool thing, Louis, throughout the night was I kept wondering who was going to be the player. Like early on, I'm like, oh, it's Jackson Jeffcoat. Or maybe it's Andrew Harris, who was great in the first quarter. And then, you know, kept just flipping around. Oh, maybe Caleros is getting together. Oh, Dalton Schoen. And in the end, it was Enoch Muamba.
You know, when Grant makes that return, maybe it's Janarian, right? Yes. I mean, maybe it's him. Yeah. You know, maybe it's Mick. I mean, there was so many moments of that game where you thought you knew what was going to happen, and then the opposite happened, which is what makes this league great.
Oh yeah, I tweeted out, and this is for the older people, from Spaceballs when Rick Moranis, Darth Helmet goes, well, we're going at ludicrous speed. That's what that Grey Cup felt like. It's just like every moment, like what's going on? Who's got the ball? Who's leading? Winnipeg's going to win it. No, Toronto's going to win it. Wait, did they just stop Andrew Harris on 2nd and 4? Oh, looks like Winnipeg's going to win it.
Yeah, the face mask. I mean, oh, look, he's down. The Zach Caleros 3rd and 16, and he got up right away, and he knew it. The pass interference in the end zone. There were so many reasons the Argos won the game. The Blue Bombers didn't lose. I mean, you could look at that Prukop decision to put him in to a situation where you're asking him to throw the ball deep, what that does to a rhythm of the offense. I think that question is going to be asked. And nobody's going to ask it more than Buck Pierce and Mike O'Shea this offseason, right?
Yeah. Well, I was talking to Farhan Walji, and he was saying that back when Winnipeg won in 2019, they would bring Chris Streveler in just to sort of give a spark. And I think that was sort of the thinking here. It was not a great pass, but good on Shaq Richardson for coming up the interception. In fact, one of the dirty little secrets, the Argonauts had 2 other easy interceptions, including one by Enoch Muamba that he dropped. You know, Caleros' numbers could have looked far worse. I give a ton of credit first to the Argonauts defense. They held Winnipeg to under 300 yards. They had 2 interceptions, 4 sacks. And the team that was the best all year at converting on 2nd down couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. So the Argonauts defense did a great job. Caleros didn't play a great game, but part of that's because of the D.
Boris Beatty has got to be, that was not a game for him, but he doesn't care. And nobody's going to remember that. Boris Beatty's going to remember that, but he was saved by a lot in this game.
Oh, hey, man, winners get to write the history, you know, and that's the great thing. Winning hides all the little ugly things on the side. Absolutely. You know, there is a world where Robbie Smith doesn't block that field goal at the end of the game. And we're talking about Boris Beatty. We're talking about the McLeod Bethel Thompson injury. We're talking about maybe the Argonauts needing to go for it more on 3rd and 2. But then Robbie Smith blocks a field goal. Everything changes. And the Toronto Maple Leafs should hire Pinball Clemens.
Well, that stat was crazy. I'm not sure who put it out. I'll find the credit. But 7-0 in championship games as a player, as a coach, as an executive. Anybody who's talked to Pinball Clemens gets it. Right. Yeah. And it's easy for people who haven't heard him speak and for people who, you know, to just say, okay, you guys obviously don't know what you're talking about. It is so addictive his personality, that the best thing they've ever done for that organization was bring him back.
Oh yeah, like he is not allowed to leave ever. And to add to that 7-0, think of the degree of difficulty. Beating Calgary in the 100th Grey Cup, beating Calgary in 2017, and that's one of the greatest, that's maybe the greatest regular season team I've ever seen, was that 2017 Calgary Stampeders team. And then this year with this Bombers team that was this close to a three-peat. It's not just that he's winning or going 7-0 in these championship games. They're beating behemoths. They're beating juggernauts. And this game was not a fluke. You could argue 17 was a bit of a fluke because there was the 100-yard to Tavares Posey and the 100-yard fumble return by Cassius Vaughn. But this is me now just throwing my Argo bona fides. That's all the excuse.
Yeah, it's all good.
But like, this game was not a fluke.
No. Well, it wasn't. And there were elements of the game that won them the game. And, we're not even talking about that big punt return, that 50-yard return that a tackle away would have swung the game a lot quicker in the Argos' favor. But still, again, back to the entertainment value. How does the CFL capitalize on this now? How do you take this game? How do you take those eyeballs? Because I saw one of the Danettes, one of the Dan Patrick guys, he was tweeting it out, ESPN2, Chad Kelly. Chad Kelly was trending for a bit last night. How does the CFL capitalize on a game like that?
Yeah, it's a great question. You just put that fourth quarter on a loop. Like, just have a TV channel where that fourth quarter is always on a loop. And it's, by the way, it's not that right there, though. We mentioned about Dan Patrick, them talking about that. That's the power of SEC college football. Yeah. Where if you were a quarterback and you ever beat Nick Saban in Alabama, they will remember you in America. That's just the basic fact. The real question here, and again, it's the age-old one of Toronto and this market and attendance, and when we will be in our 80s, we'll be discussing this. But all you really hope for is just a small incremental gain that a bunch of people that saw it just watch that game and go, that was entertaining to me. I'm going to watch a little bit more of it next year. I'm not going to give up the NFL, but it's like people that say that people that love dogs, and then they're, well, I don't like cats, or I'm a cat person, I can't like dogs. Yeah. No, they're both delightful animals for very different reasons. Dogs are very easy. Cats, you got to work for that love. And it's the same thing here. Yeah. I just hope that there's a small incremental gain of people that watch that in Toronto, in Southern Ontario, and will go, damn, I want to see what the Argos do next year. And how can you not at the end of the game, when Mwamba is in tears with his daughter, getting the awards, Darren Detition is giving the award, and just his battle back from cancer. I'm sorry. I was sitting on the couch last night, and it got dusty. I can imagine. Absolutely got dusty.
It was great to see Dutchy. Great point there. It was great to see him looking so great, and obviously a tough fight he had. And again, great to see him as part of the first of all, top-notch TSN broadcast crew. I mean, that was from top to bottom presentation of that game. That's what we need, right? I mean, that showcased this game to the max.
And it's hard to do. Like, when you're doing like a 5-hour pregame, you've got some tape pieces that are in the can, but you're doing a lot of live TV. And all live TV is need one tiny little mistake, and then you can see it all over your TV screen. I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, they did. Doesn't this put the pressure on the Ticats? Doesn't this put more pressure on this Hamilton team than you thought was even possible going into 20? I mean, that's where I'm at right now, is that, man, the Ticats, they were feeling it going into this one, but the Argos winning it, having to hear that all season, that's going to be tough.
I would do the classic Toronto thing, making fun of Hamilton, but as you know, Louis, I've covered a lot of games for the Ticats. I went to McMaster. I'm rooting for Hamilton to win a title if as long as they don't beat Argos in the playoffs. But so much talent, like the amount of talent that's come through Ivory Wynn at Tim Hortons Field over the years, and to not have a Grey Cup win since '99, absolutely it puts pressure. And I mean, think about Zach Caleros. He was going to be the MOP in 2015, and they got hurt, and then he had concussions, and Toronto traded him away for nothing. And, just what he's done since, but all the talent there, Jeremiah Masoli and Simone Lawrence and, Brandon Banks and all these players. Yeah. And they
Chad Owens, Andy Fantuz, Luke Tasker.
Yeah.
I mean,
June Jones, Orlando Steinauer. Like, there's so much talent and intelligence that's been in Hamilton.
Yeah. And I mean, Bo Levi was traded earlier in the week. Ticats trying to steal the headline. How do you see that move shaking out? What's your analysis on that?
Spicy. I love it. As someone, I want it. I want the off-season intrigue. That move says to me that Hamilton looks at Dane Evans and goes, when everything's going right, you're a good quarterback, but you turn the ball over too much. Yeah. But Mitchell is a risk. He certainly did. He hasn't been the same guy in the last couple of years. He's been hit a lot. He's not a young guy anymore. I'm rooting for it, not because I'm anti Dane Evans. I wrote a piece about how much I loved Evans, that 5-touchdown game against Winnipeg, but it's great intrigue. And I want to see Bo Levi Mitchell one more moment where he's at the top of his career.
Aren't these the same conversations we were having about Zach Collaros 3 years ago, though?
Yes.
I mean, because Zach's 34, Bo's 32. I bring this up a lot because people always go to, how much does Bo have left in the tank? Well, yes, Bo has 10 years, in the tank as a guy, as the full-time guy. Zach didn't really have that, but he's still 2 years younger. He's still been in the league a lot longer. I mean, it seems like a silly argument when people ask, like, does Bo have anything left in the tank? Same people were saying the same things about Zach Collaros 3 years ago. Now he's a two-time MVP.
Louis, it's a great point. And in fact, I would argue that Zach Collaros had suffered more slings and arrows than Bo Levi Mitchell. Just all the devastating injuries in 2015, the concussions he suffered after that, bouncing between Saskatchewan and Toronto, being traded to Winnipeg for like a 5th-round pick, and a piece of news that meant nothing. It meant nothing when it happened. It was a little blip. And
on trade deadline day too. It was Zach Collaros, who you're telling me, a guy who hasn't played since week 1, who signed, like, what does that mean? Nothing.
Also think about this. Remember Collaros' final days in Hamilton when he went like 0 for 7 as a starter, got pulled for Jeremiah Masoli. Collaros was seen as a guy, this guy has lost the ability to win. And then what has he been in Winnipeg? He always finds a way to win. Things move and change pretty fast. Absolutely, Louis. Bo Levi Mitchell's got absolutely an opportunity.
And let's finish up on Speedy B, because that's how he started this show. Just the recognition of his career, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was it for him. I think I could see him going out on top. If that was the last we saw of Brandon Banks, what is his legacy in this league?
His legacy is he should eventually be in the Hall of Fame. You don't usually have MOPs at the wide receiver position. It's usually quarterbacks or Simone Lawrence. So I think he'll be remembered as this incredibly terrifying, electrifying player. And also the cool thing about Brandon Banks is he's a reminder that your career is not set in stone. He was return guy with Ken Austin. Then June Jones was like, we got to get this guy the ball 15 times, and good for him for being able to reinvent himself. So I think that's what I'll think about Brandon Banks.
What are you most intrigued about this CFL off season as we start day 1 here?
Okay, beyond obviously Bo Levi Mitchell and what happens there in Hamilton, all eyes go on Nathan Rourke. And what I need to have happen is for someone in the CFL to plant an offensive tweet that Nathan Rourke tweeted 5 years ago that's tototally false, but to keep him here in Canada. No, I'm kidding. I wish
you have to say I'm kidding. You have to say I'm
kidding. Yeah. The selfish side of me, Louis, wants Nathan Rourke to sign a 4-year deal with the Lions, but obviously I wish him nothing but the best. So the Rourke situation, beyond that, Chad Kelly versus McLeod Bethel Thompson, that's going to be discussed. And, usually a lot of it just comes down to the quarterbacks, Vernon Adams Jr., things like that.
How about all 4 quarterbacks who dressed last night are now have a Grey Cup champion ring with the Toronto Argonauts?
Yeah, it's wild.
Isn't that like Prukop won? He was on the team in 2017, right? Yep. So you got him. Chad Kelly won his yesterday. McLeod Bethel Thompson. I mean, I guess, I don't know.
It speaks to the organization, management, Jim Barker, Pinball Clemens. it speaks to all the executives over the years been able to have an eye for talent at, the most important position, something I'd like to see in Edmonton. What's going to happen Taylor Cornelius? What about Cody Fajardo? What's going to happen there? I mean, so many storylines.
Should be fun. Matt, always appreciate catching up with you. Enjoy the off season. I'm sure we'll be talking training camp before we know it.
Louis, always love doing it, and I'm sorry that we didn't have more time to talk about Fielding Estates.
Yes.
And the tannic profile of those Cab Merlots. So much we could have got into. Louis, love doing it. Incredible Grey Cup. All the best, my friend.
My thanks to Matt Cauz for joining me today, and my thanks to you as well, as we could not do this show without your support. So thank you. My password still works on my email, so I guess I'll be back tomorrow. Hope you'll join us then here on the Ticats Audio Network. I'm Louis Butko, hoping you have a great day.
Ticats Today can be heard every weekday, and we would like to hear from you. Email us at gameday@ticats.ca. Have a question or an opinion? We want to hear it. That's gameday@ticats.ca. Subscribe to the Ticats Audio Network on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.